And we're back with another episode of the Wrestling Roundtable podcast. I'm Ryan Hall, as always. I've got my guy Dominique LaRue joining us, and we've both been free of Danhausen curses for the week. So that's one thing that we can certainly hang our hats on. But there's a very weird story that has been in the news on wrestling lately, and I wanted to lead with it. And there's been a lot of speculation about CM Punk's future with WWE. Now, I know a lot, I would imagine that a lot of that, I think, has to do with just kind of playing on his reputation, playing on his history with what happened with him in AEW and all that, and also what happened in his original WWE run. But, um, I'm not really sure what to make of it because from everything I've seen, he's got a big program building for this summer sometime.
Yeah. Um, from the reports I've saw, I mean, not on the story about him and TKO, but they've been showing him working out. He looks, big, buff, whatever. And then I seen another report recently about, him taking a break. Like he's been on an extensive break from this man literally worked from the moment he won that title from Jey, from the Saturday night main event in I don't know, October, November or something. He's been on the go from then on out, night in and night out, live show, uh, a taped, well, not taped, excuse me, a live event to a live actual televised match, and signing autographs and traveling and this and that and the third. So the man needed a break. He's literally in his what,
Yeah.
late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, he's like 47, 48, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, I'm not close to that just yet, but and I mean, my brother over here, I know you can testify more better than I can, but it, CM Punk's not a spring chicken, okay? He can't just
He's not.
pop up, be
He's
ready
not.
to
I mean,
go.
no.
Like the man got to warm up, he got to stretch, he got to do all these extra things to get himself amped. And I mean, he's from Chicago, so I'm pretty sure he stayed amped. But as far as his body wise, it has to get amped up. So with that being
Yeah.
said, why the man can't just take a break? Why it always got to turn to something? They got. I mean, granted, nobody likes TKO. At the end of the day, I don't care what they say. I don't care what the talent say. I don't care what Nick Khan or whatever case got to say about it. But nobody likes y'all. Okay. Ever since they took over WWE, it's went as far as storytelling wise. And obviously they're money hungry, so they got to play the money moves to and granted, we love the bloodline storyline. I love it. Um,
Totally. Yeah.
but to say literally what Roman Reigns said, he gave you 2 years to bring star power, to boost up the young talent and bring them up to level of Roman and the Cody and the CM Punk and all this, and you did nothing. So what they had to do, they had to resort back to Roman, to Cody, to CM Punk, to John Cena, to Randy Orton. And now you want to push Oba. Now you want to push Javon Evans. Now, no, it's too late now. Like, yes, I'm glad they're at where they're at, and they should be, but they should have been that 2 years ago. They should have been a year ago, even. Hell, when Trick lost the NXT title, why are you putting the TNA title on him when you could have just moved him to the main roster? So like to
Yeah,
the
that didn't make a
IWC,
lick of sense.
they didn't make it look a sin. Me and you, Ben was like, hey, yo, it's time for him to move up. It's been time for him to move up. And they never did. So, for anybody that's griping about, you know, oh man, if we go through the bloodline storyline again, we should, because it's good. They got multiple cousins
Yeah.
and nieces and nephews and stuff that are wrestling and could make the story make sense. to add on to what's going on. And like the big money play that has been set in stone for the past 3 years, if it wasn't for like, granted, that was a great storyline. I'm glad Cody finished the story, but the original move was to have Roman versus The Rock. So don't you think they're trying to set that up? Like, granted, Dwayne Johnson's schedule is crazy, so we don't even know if he'll be able to even show up on a random night. But they're going to Saudi Arabia, right? Saudi Arabia wants
Yeah.
everybody and their grandmother to pop up. They want Randy Savage. They want Jimmy Fire Snooker. They want Andre the Giant. They want Stone Cold. They want every legend you can think of possibly to show up to
Yokozuna.
Saudi Arabia. Okay, yeah. So they're going to break the bank on Roman versus The Rock. And if we don't
Yeah.
get Roman versus The Rock, they're gonna have to come up with another storyline out of the blue. So, and as you saw on Unreal, they have a list of things like preliminary. I'm trying to use a big word, but basically in a case of emergency, break the glass. Roman versus Cody Rhodes, part three. Oba Femi versus Roman. Hell, Seth Rollins versus Roman. So like they got to work in a way to make it make sense. So right now we're just in a limbo of possibly this is the road we're going, but if something were to happen, we got to steer to something else.
And I think that's the thing that's kind of bugging me about this whole, CM Punk story that um what if this whole thing could just be a smoke screen? Like it could just be like a smoke screen for turning it, giving him back to that whole voice of the voiceless, um, kind of persona that he was so good at back during the whole summer of punk back in 2011 or whatever it was. And you've got a lot to deal with. Like you can also that's a guy who like knows how to cross lines with the microphone. I think better than pretty much anybody. Now, cross lines within reason. Let's be clear. That one, burying you next to your father line that he had back in the WrestleMania build, one of the exceptions on that. But my point is that this is a guy who, if you can get the crowd behind him, if you can get the kind of that anti-TKO vibe behind him, you can make a hell of a lot of money on this. And you and I both said CM Punk is not a young man in this game. But at the same time, there's still money. There's still gas left in that gas tank. And if you've been seeing the videos from him, in the gym, the guy's put on some serious size. Dude's big now. I mean, he's not, Roman Reigns big, but he's big. He
Um,
looks great.
you know, as you was nicely putting it, by the way, my brother. Um, I was sitting here and the idea popped in my head. And, you know, we haven't had this guy in a long time, but the only person that comes to mind that possibly could be close to a Stone Cold Steve Austin is a CM Punk. And when I say Stone Cold Steve Austin, what was the greatest story in the Attitude Era told? A guy that you probably could see yourself having a beer with, and a boss that you couldn't stand, that you wanted to put your hands on.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, we getting a modern day Stone Cold versus. I mean, granted, we don't have a Vince McMahon to say, but if you really think about it, and if the Rock schedule clears up, we could have Stone Cold. I mean, well, excuse me, Stone Cold 2.0 and CM Punk and a Dwayne Johnson. in the near future. We could have, I mean, because you literally, if Dwayne could clear his schedule, you could have um Dwayne fighting CM Punk at Survivor Series. You could have, I mean, because he's literally on the board of TKO.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like it's a smoke screen or a money play to like play what our because some IWC fans are fully invested to the point where they think everything is real. So any little story you say, they're going to
You
believe
mean
it. So
you mean it's not? You mean this is actually predetermined?
is it predetermined? I'm sorry to that. Mm. Oh, that's right. It is. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they literally had a show called Unreal. So
Breaking news, guys.
breaking news. So yes, if anybody actually watched that show, they have it talks about potentially doing things to shake things up and to make it look real. So a story about
Yeah,
CM Punk that this man literally was on the mic saying like, "Hey TKO, you suck. You got Pat McAfee talking junk about our business. Granted, Pat McAfee is under contract with that business. He has a deal with that business. Um, yeah, you got them talking, talking trash or whatever. But let's not forget that he's signed under TKO. He's getting paid by TKO. Him and his wife is getting paid by TKO. Granted, they can leave at any moment if they want to. They don't care.
yeah,
They're that,
sure.
you know, set. But I, I don't think they came back to just beef with TKO and then like potentially leave or get legal matters involved or whatever the case may be. I don't see that.
Yeah,
But so I'm from the state of I'm from the show me state. So you have to show me.
yeah, yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally. As you were talking, a couple of things popped in my head. Um, if you remember the night that the first Raw, the first promo that CM Punk cut after he came back at that Survivor Series show in Seattle, in Chicago. What was his takeaway line in that show? I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money.
Yep. Yep.
And from what all we've seen and what all we've heard, CM Punk has been like he's had his nose clean. Like he's been, like he's had the reputation of picking fights with people. He doesn't suffer BS lightly, which, you know, can can be a blessing and a curse sometimes. Um, but he's a guy that just doesn't suffer fools very easily. And there's a lot of money. Just kind of in your angle there, there's a ton of money in kind of like rehashing that Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon storyline from back in the day. Now, hear me out on this. I got a twist. You know that Mr. Levesque, that we know better as Triple H, he isn't exactly persona. He's kind of a persona non grata in the IWC right now, is he not?
Oh yeah. He's a big dog.
I
Well,
think
he's one
I
of the
think
big
I
dogs.
think unfairly, but he's a persona non grata in the IWC right now. Um, and I know that he can't get physical, but he can damn sure talk.
Oh yeah.
Could
He's
you
one of the
see
greatest.
a world where Triple H kind of inherits that role of kind of the kind of the corporate, the corporate antagonist that the Vince McMahon character was. And since he can't get physical, he can farm that off to other people. He could farm that off to, I'm just randomly saying, Oba Femi. I mean, I know that'll never happen, but he could farm that off to people. And I think it could be really compelling. But I also like your idea of getting the sand crystal involved because he, there's also a fortune to be made in a Roman versus Rock match if it ever happens.
So did you just call this man a sand crystal?
The Pebble, yeah, something like that. Yeah, I did.
It's funny. But yeah, I mean, it's been the end game for, and I truly believe like this match between him and Roman is his retirement match. I don't care what nobody says. Like, if The Rock's gonna do one more match, he wants to do it with his cousin on the biggest stage of
Yeah,
them all and finish his career out that way. It just it fits The Rock perfectly. If he's
it
gonna go
does.
out, he's gonna go out, and then for it to be in Saudi Arabia, they're taking WrestleMania to Saudi Arabia, where it's never been before. So
Don't
I
remind
see
me.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't remind me either. I mean, like watching Saudi Arabia. I mean, watching WrestleMania in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon is crazy to me. But um, I see that, and that's what they want. That's what they really want. But like, you
yeah,
know,
they do.
push come to shove, you can't predict the future, and I mean, you really don't know 1,000% that The Rock is down for it because I mean he's a big time movie star now. So who's to say he ain't making Moana 2 by then? Live action Moana 2. So um, they gotta have a fallback plan. And I mean, there's some big stars now that emerging and currently in WWE that they can go pull the trigger on if The Rock doesn't get involved. But like, I don't think you go back to the Bloodline storyline if The Rock is not the end game.
You definitely don't go back into it this hard.
No, to the point where you're literally making us think that Jey Uso could win King of the Ring and go on to get the undisputed title and sit at the other end of the table. Which I want to go ahead and get this out because it's been on my mind. It's a good storyline between him, Roman, and The Rock because like Roman could be like, oh, I'm the head of the table, but then The Rock could be like, I am the table. Like I'm the table. I
Yeah,
sit at the board of the table. So
start calling that man the conference room table.
yeah, like he's the puppet master of everything. Like, yeah, I let you run around
Totally.
here, call yourself the tribal chief and this, that, and third, but that tribal like title doesn't hold weight to the company. Like, you may be the tribal chief of our family, but I am over you. So,
I mean, and what was his grandfather's nickname? The High Chief.
our chief. Yep.
Yep. Speaking of our Yeety friend, a lot of signs seem to be pointing towards Jey Uso taking the King of the Ring title and going on to SummerSlam to take on the Universal Champion. And I definitely feel like I feel like there's a lot of possibilities on that. And I know you've got some great theories behind it, but I know there's some possibilities behind it that that make a lot of sense to me. But one thing that like like the way that this tournament is unfolding, it almost occurs to me like it's like like the ch kind of the chalk pick, let's say,
Yeah.
is Oba Femi. He's hot, he's huge, he's got a world of heat behind him. But at the same time, he's also got a target on his back. And young Mr. Lesnar is back there with his crossbow, if you know what I mean. And I feel like there's I feel like Brock Lesnar is going to end up costing that man that King of the Ring crown, um, setting up the retirement match at SummerSlam. But I definitely think that Jey Uso makes a lot of sense for King of the Ring. Whether or not he wins it, who the hell knows? But I think he makes a lot of sense.
Well, I said on this pod many, many times that I am a Jey Uso lifer. I'm gonna ride for Jey Uso. I'm gonna criticize him, but I'm gonna have his back because I saw the growth in him and I'm loving it. And it only makes sense that he would do that, to further the story. And could you just imagine Jay being on SmackDown with the title and Roman being on Raw with the title? The IWC would probably lose their mind. It'd probably be worse than the Knicks winning the championship Saturday. But if you don't pull the trigger on Jay winning the undisputed title, and if miraculously Jimmy causes him the opportunity, and then that's how you get your feud with Jimmy and Jay, um, or even Jacob. I mean, Jacob was. I didn't see Raw, but I seen highlights, and for Jacob to be like, I acknowledge Roman, I didn't acknowledge y'all punk at ASSs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, whoa. I mean, he made a valid point, but at the same time, whoa, y'all supposed to be together. Like, why is it that the bloodline is more broken up internally than it ever was when it was, the OG bloodline, right? So I'm also a lifer for this guy that I'm finna bring up. I mentioned on the show, I believe, an episode or two ago. Um, Obviously, I mentioned him for other reasons why, outside of like just get this man away from Judgment Day. I don't want to go down that road because you already know I'm gonna crash out on that. But they finally moving to SmackDown, and what better way to rejuvenate this man's career and his name alone by having him being the King of the Ring. He wins the King of the Ring, and he goes on to fight Cody, and not only fight Cody, but he's fighting Cody at the place where he won his first title, and that's the Universal title, as a matter of fact. And well, his first title on the main roster, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But
of course.
he won it at SummerSlam. He won it and lost it at the same time because he won it against Seth Rollins, but during the match, he separated his shoulder and he had to relinquish it the next night. But why can't my man finish his story out? Why can't he get his you know official run as a champion officially at SummerSlam where he won and lost? I think
It ma
SmackDown needs that. They need a brand new face. They need uh 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 a lightning bolt, basically.
yeah.
And then you can go on and have
Yeah.
Gunther fight Finn and like other. uh other opponents. And then, you get Cody back being the chaser, you know. We said that he's better as a chaser. So, and not
We
even
we we
chase the
we've been
undisputed
saying that
title.
we've been saying that for 2 years.
Yeah. Like, why not chase the world title at this point? You've literally won the undisputed title 3 times within the 2 year span. Like how you go this long to finish your story? You finish the story and then you repeat being the champion within 2 years, just like that. Like, who does that?
It just occurred to me that
Mhm.
I love where your head's at on Finn Balor. I definitely, I'm happy with the way that he's gone back to his old persona, even dug the demon out for a spell. But you do realize that it was 10 years ago this summer that he had that match against Kevin Owens at SummerSlam and won the Universal Championship. It wasn't Kevin Owens, it was Seth Rollins, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was Kevin Owens, but it was when he took that bad buckle bomb and separated his shoulder. It was 10 years ago this August. And what better way to kind of play into that redemption feel than to put the championship back on the Prince, back on Finn Balor.
Yeah. 10 years. It's 10 years too long. So
Way too
I
long.
feel like, and then, obviously this is a segue to our next topic, but I feel like Finn winning the title would be more credible to Chad Gable potentially going on to go fight for a title, world title, because depending on the crowd in United States, if they're the same level of excitement as fans overseas, then a mid card title ain't gonna be satisfied. Satisfied for us as fans for Chad Gable. He has to go on and win the world title. Now, granted, I'm always about the world title, but seeing that Roman has the world title now, the world title is the number one title, and the undisputed title is number two title in my eyes. So
Right.
with Finn now, credit to Finn, he would ever Cody has elevated it. Finn will elevate it, of course, but it's not in the same atmosphere as the world title with Roman. But it's still a title to behold, and like the lineage is there, and like it's the title that I want everybody to have. You know, my favorites. So I can see a Chad Gable going on to win an undisputed title from Finn. I can see him beating it from Jey. I can see him beating it from even Gunther. But like this facade that they put on Cody about easy to find, hard to beat. That's the reason why I feel like people like a Chad, people like a Jey, people like second tier superstars. It's hard for them to beat a Cody because of that nature. Where back in the day, the Attitude Era, anybody could get beat. I mean, the only two people that's pretty like you know hard to beat was like Undertaker and John Cena, or even Triple H back then, to be honest. But
Yeah.
even so, like you get you get my drift. Like
I feel you. Yeah, no, I feel you.
you put this facade on Cody like he's unbeatable. So I can't see a Chad Gable beating Cody, but I can see him beating Finn for the title.
Yeah, yeah. And after coming off of that El Grande Americano run, and yeah, the crowds have been just insane. Absolutely insane. Like that eruption that he had when he came out to save Rey Mysterio the other night was stone cold in his prime level, if you ask me. But also that was a European crowd. But my point is that you've got just gold-plated money with him as a babyface right now. People want to cheer for him. People want to, want to support him. People want to take him seriously. And if they don't snatch the hook on this, you're just throwing money out the window, if you ask me.
Yeah, you leave money on the table. You're basically feeding into what we've thought about you for a while now, and is that y'all are definitely money hungry, but not money hungry to where like that in our eyes will feed you money. You're more like you want the big okay, because you watch baseball and I'm a baseball fan too. It's like you're going for the home runs. You're not settling for the singles, the doubles, the triples, like, the ones
Hmm.
that are going to get you points. You want the whole thing. And you can't always get the whole thing because going for that is always going to get you out. And you're going to put yourself more in a hole than you are in the game.
That's a great analogy. That's a great analogy because the 450-foot moonshot is going to make Sports Center. But if there's nobody on base, it still only counts as one run.
Yeah, while everybody else is
Whereas,
suffering.
exactly, exactly. Um, don't screw this up, WWE. I beg of you, don't screw this up because it's just like it's compelling, but it's also, and I never would have thought that I'd put Chad Gable and compelling in the same sentence. I never thought that I'd say that.
Well,
I
I me personally, I feel like when he had that feud with Gunther, that's when I could see compelling. But when he went to Americano, I would have never thought, never in a million years thought that would be compelling.
because it
But
was a
then,
comedy gimmick. It was a comedy character.
yeah, but the Undertaker said, "Let me take this comedy gimmick and put some real thought into this. Let me show you why I'm a legend. Let me show you why I'm a legend." And he made Americano one of the biggest stars in AAA and possibly WWE, which is crazy because he
Yeah.
started as a comedy gimmick. The comedy gimmick got hurt. You slide in somebody else. They boost his credibility up to where we just forget who he originally was. You bring back the original comedy gimmick, and now they're both on the same level. Who does that? What like what? That's like taking Hurricane, right? And he gets hurt. You bring another dude play Hurricane, and like, could you imagine Hurricane in that era being on a level of the greatest wrestling match, one of the greatest matches
No,
of all
no.
time?
No,
Comparing it to like,
no offense to Hurricane, but hell no.
yeah, no offense to Hurricane, like he's a beloved character, and I loved him, and I love his
Yeah.
segments with The Rock, but like, no, no, just no. The man literally jumped on the screen and like credit The Rock. That's why he's a great actor now. But like The Rock made the Hurricane because he would look up in the sky as if he was actually flying. And the man literally just
Yeah.
jumped 2 feet to the right of the camera or left of the camera. And that, I mean, I love the sound effect, but the god awful sound effect of him flying off was crazy. Pew!
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's the magic of that's why we watch what we watch and love what we
Yeah.
watch because of the fact of you could take a comedy gimmick like Americano or Hurricane, it'd be funny, and somehow in our strange world, it makes sense,
Yeah.
and nobody bats an eye or like says this is absolutely stupid.
Well, I mean, unless the IWC's got a bone to pick with somebody, but I think the IWC's picking bones with everybody. But my point, that your point is very well taken. That a
Oh,
comedy character like that can absolutely
awesome.
get over in like the mainstream. And I think that it I also think not only is that a not only is that a benefit to the Undertaker's creative vision on this, but also I think it really speaks to how freaking good Chad Gable and Ludwig Kaiser both are for getting that over as well as they did.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it was a talent. I think it was either Becky or somebody. Like Becky was like, I'm game for anything you throw at me because I feel like I can make it work. And that's how any talent should be. Like, case in point, R-Truth, right? R-Truth is by far the epitome of you throw anything at this man and he makes it gold. To the point where the man wasn't even involved in the storyline. Come out, right? What was it? I think it was like King of the, no, it was something. It was pay-per-view, I forgot, Royal Rumble or whatever, and they had like a ladder match. And or even just the Royal Rumble, yeah. The man come out in the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble, Battle Royale. He comes out, pulls out a ladder, puts it in the middle of the ring, climbs up it, and act like he could go in for the Money in the Bank. Funniest thing ever. One of the funniest moments of all time. Another one when they was in the ring, and I guess they was having like a fatal five-way, four-way, whatever the case may be, and R-Truth comes out there and he's like, I'm gonna make a fool of y'all. I'm gonna be the next champion, whatever the case may be. And Kane, with the most shocked look on his face, is like, why are you even out here? He was like, because I'm in, I'm fighting for the championship, whatever. Da, da, da. He said, you're not even in the match, and he's like, I'm not. Uh, Uh, my bad, dog. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad, Kane. My bad. Like we ate that up. We thought that was the funniest thing. Like for him to just do stuff like that and it be funny and like obviously he's trying to play like a dumb guy, but like we know Truth ain't dumb. He's just
No.
the
He,
man. The man when he retires, he needs to go in the Hall of Fame immediately. Like not even a waiting period.
absolutely,
He
yeah.
needs to get the AJ Styles treatment. Like soon as you feel like you're done, you need to be the headliner for that um Hall of Fame inductee.
And let's also not forget R-Truth was the guy who made Brock Lesnar break character and start laughing.
Numerous times. We ain't even talk about just once. We talk about numerous times.
Yeah.
Anytime them two was on the scene, this man is going to crack. I seen one on TikTok where I guess the security guard was trying to keep him from like just destroying stuff. Here come R-Truth. No, 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 I got him. Y'all good? Y'all good? I forgot what he said, but whatever he said, you can literally see like it's basically on the equivalent of how you hate when Ronda Rousey comes out and she smiles and then she try to play serious. Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar is serious all the time. Like we know that. But like for
Yeah.
him to crack, for R-Truth to crack Brock Lesnar, that is gold because Brock Lesnar do not easily crack unless he wants to crack like that.
Yeah.
And just the one where he's like, yeah, it's gonna be 29 other superstars, and I'm gonna sling them out the ring left and right, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna even sling you out. Oh, like we thought he was talking about Brock Lesnar. He was talking about Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's like, I'm not even in the Royal Rumble. What are you talking about?
And Brock lost it. Brock
Lost
lost
it.
it.
He couldn't even keep a straight face after that.
Apparently, that won R-Truth a bet, by the way, that a lot of guys had bet that that he would not be able to crack Brock Lesnar in the ring.
Could you imagine back in the day, like, all the superstars try to crack the Undertaker, that's one of the reasons why The Rock came up with the people's elbow. But could you
Hmm.
imagine R-Truth trying to crack the Undertaker? That would have been liquid gold. Like, it would have been gold. It would have been gold.
Yeah,
And then to be in that particular era, and he could say anything basically. Oh,
pretty much.
that would have been amazing.
Yeah, it would have been that would have been so freaking funny. All right. So one more thing that's on my mind before we wrap up here. And as we're recording this, we're going to talk a little basketball here. As we're recording this, yes, we are. The New York Knicks hold the 3-1 lead over the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals. We're about 48 hours away from Game 5 back in San Antonio. Now, one of the biggest storylines in this NBA Finals has not been, Jalen Brunson, has not been, other than the 29-point comeback that the Knicks had the other night, it has not been about basketball per se. It has been about the mere fact that our guy Danhausen uncursed the Knicks. They won on a 13-0 winning streak. We thought they were going to be they were getting curb stomped by the Hawks in the first round. We thought they were toast.
Yeah.
But they went on a hot streak like we wouldn't believe. Got into the NBA Finals. Only lost Game 3 of the NBA Finals, the first one back in MSG. And it has been all since Danhausen got involved. Now, I have a serious question that I want to pose to you, my brother. If the Knicks win this series, and God help New York City if they do, but if New York wins this series, does Danhausen get a ring? Does he get a championship ring?
Can't even put it
I'll,
in.
I'll, I'll let you ponder that one for a little bit.
I really don't have to ponder it too hard. I'm trying to find all the words, serious words possible. But not only would he get a championship ring, this man deserves a championship ring, the key to the city. Uh, I know they don't do it in New York, but a star on the sidewalk or whatever you need to put his
Right.
name right there
Yep.
by Donald Trump's hotel or whatever. This man deserves absolute everything, right?
Yeah,
Because
totally.
this man uncursed the New York Knicks. They haven't been in an NBA Finals in 20 something years. They haven't won a title since 71.
Yeah.
Spike Lee was a teenager when they won. Okay? Like this man deserves it all. He probably would never go broke in New York because everybody will pay for his food and gas and whatever the case may be wherever he walks in New
Yeah.
York after this finals. The man would be in the parade. The man would have a title belt. The man would have a ring. He would probably be shirtless like J.R. Smith was in Cleveland when they won the title, drinking and just having a good time. The man he don't have to wrestle for the rest of his life after this
Yeah.
because of him uncursing the Knicks.
The mere fact that this is a serious conversation that we're having, I think really goes to prove how, first of all, how weird wrestling can be. But can you even call this a wrestling story? Because, yeah, Danhausen's, a WWE superstar, but he has been such a huge part of this. Like, there was like Pat McAfee did like a special broadcast, like a special simulcast on the ESPN app. And this was, this was game four. It was Pat McAfee, Tina Fey, Tracy Morgan, and somebody else. I can't remember who the other one was, the but here comes, just out of the blue, here comes Danhausen interrupting a broadcast of the NBA Finals, their championship series. This is the weirdest thing I have seen in sports, since maybe the GOAT that cursed the Chicago Cubs for over 100 years. This is the weirdest thing I've seen in sports in a long time. And I absolutely think not only does the man deserve a NBA Finals ring, he deserves to have I know he doesn't wear a number, but he deserves to have something retired at MSG. I mean, this if of course if the Knicks hold on and win the series, he definitely deserves to be a part of that celebration because it's one of the damnedest things I've seen in a long time.
It just goes back to like that, I guess that show they had on USA Network of like how involved is wrestling in how involved is wrestling in like pop culture. Like it's everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
to the point where like, teams are not only receiving their respective trophies in their pro sport, but they're getting championship belts. Danhausen is involved in like one of the greatest finals run of all time because he just said, "Hey, New York Knicks is uncursed." So, and like, oh man, that man, he's going to deserve everything he receives from the Knicks. Like, he better get the red carpet. That's all I got to say. It's just the mere fact that we're talking about an NBA team on a wrestling
Yeah.
podcast. I already show you right there, right then and there, how much wrestling has worked its way into everything.
But you could have said that 40 years ago when Hulk Hogan was in his prime, because it was like there was I think I remember like three of the most famous people in the 80s were Ronald Reagan, Pope John Paul, and Hulk Hogan. I mean, wrestling, whether or not people look down on wrestling, which they shouldn't, you know how I feel about this.
Yep.
Um, whether or not people look down on wrestling, people, whether or not people look down on people who watch wrestling, it's part of the culture. It's part of the culture. It's deep inside the culture. And the mere fact that we're going to look at this NBA Finals 30 years from now, and one of the key figures in this series is going to be a pro wrestler with a giant tattoo on his chest and a painted face. You can't make this up.
Danhausen is probably gonna get the Finals MVP for the Knicks.
Honestly, he probably should. He
Which is
probably
crazy.
should. Yeah, really is. Well, last but not least, I know we kind of touched on it briefly, but who you thinking ends up taking the Queen of the Ring here in a couple of weeks? I think it's like I feel like Io Sky makes way too much sense, but do you have any other thoughts on that?
Io Sky makes the perfect sense because I mean, Rhea Ripley is the champion over SmackDown. Are you going to keep running Jade back to back to back against Rhea? Um, Obviously, there's money on the table with Charlotte, but I don't know if they're going. I mean, I feel like they're going to go down the route of Jade and Charlotte. So, um, makes the perfect sense. Best friend versus best friend. Run it back. They go back with the storyline of basically Rhea can't keep best friends because of her and Liv's situation. They were once tag team champions. They were once close friends, and then they end up being arch enemies. So
Yeah. Go figure. Go figure. Well, another fun episode, my guy. These are always fun. I always love doing them with you. Want to rock it again next week?
absolutely, I can't wait. Next week will be the it probably just a regular. Well, not a regular. No, 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 no. Let me take it back. Next week will be the take home episode to Father's Day weekend. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that'll do it for this episode of the Wrestling Roundtable. You can check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Follow us on the social media machine and join us again next week. For Dominique, I'm Ryan. Thank you so much for joining us. And until we eat again, take care. So long for now. And don't let Danhausen uncurse you. Oh, wait, did I get that? Don't let Danhausen curse you. We'll talk to you later.